Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Here is my lovely SG61 reissue circa 2007. And I've had this guitar now for since 2009. So that's a long time, right? And it's got some issues or whatever. But what was Gibson thinking when they made this guitar? Obviously, this guitar has an interesting history. And this guitar basically really started off as a Les Paul, but you know, there's a whole bunch of disagreements of exactly what happened, whether he didn't like the name on the guitar and didn't want to be associated with it, or you know, he didn't want divorce proceeds to go to the ex or something like that. People debate whether it is, and everybody's I have the right answer, you don't. But this guitar is a very interesting guitar because this is, you say, yeah, I played one of these in the music store the other day. No, you haven't. You haven't played one of these since 2011 in a music store. This is the SG61 reissue, not standard reissue. The standard is a different guitar. Now I've compared this guitar to the standard body, which I have an SG3 over there, which is more basically an SG standard, and we'll look at that guitar in a little bit there. But this basically has a thinner body like it did in 61, has the slim tapered neck, which I just absolutely love on this thing. And it doesn't come without its issues though, and it also has the larger headstock. If you compare it to a standard headstock, it's a little bit wider, a little bit larger, about the same width as the custom headstock. But yeah, and I love that headstock, to be honest with you. I think they should have, with the standard reissues, they should have put this big headstock on it, the slim taper neck, and then just the SG standard body. I think that would be probably about the perfect Gibson. And then I'd love to see one of these with an ebony fingerboard, like in this configuration. That'd be cool. Yeah, but when they came up with this, like, this was kind of Gibson used to have the slogan that in the 61, the SG61, the original one came out, that they had a slogan where it's like, if this can't get it out of you, you don't have it in you. And I would say at the time this was probably the most shreddable guitar in the world. It was probably the guitar that had the least amount of limitations for playability. And obviously with the shorter scale, I love the Gibson scale because why work harder than you need to? This was the first heavy metal guitar. You know what I mean? Made popular by many great guitar players, but Tony Iommi comes to mind when you think metal. And Jimmy Page played one, Hendrix played one, obviously Eric Clapton played one. And you don't see the younger crowd playing them as much, but a lot of that I think is just due to the price of them. But at the time, when I look at the price that this was at in 2011, it was about $1,900, which, yeah, you could say for the time was a tad bit overpriced. But now an SG standard reissue is like $2,500 or $2,300, which is definitely overpriced to a degree. But however, is it worth it? Well, mine has a few issues with it because this is one of the reasons why they don't make this guitar anymore. And the issue is right here, is the heel joint isn't strong enough. So you get a bit of a bow here, and I got a bit of a bow here. And it still plays fine and everything like that, but you can't get the action as low as you'd like. And that was always a common problem with them, which is too bad, which is too bad because like the formula of this guitar is really, really awesome. Now, for those that don't normally play SGs, the big one is that turns people off of SGs is, oh, it's got neck dive. Like that's such a big issue for some people, right? And I can understand if you're a lead singer, you got to go, okay, clap your hands, everybody, and you got to take your hands off the guitar. Yeah, the thing, the headstock falling to the ground like a meteor is not really going to be a guitar that'll be suited for that, right? But for the average guitar player, like, it's not really that much of an issue. And the playability of these things is just awesome. And then, of course, my favorite Gibson pickups are the classic 57s. But I would like to hear this guitar with modern pickups. The problem with Gibson is they're still making the 1960s guitar. You know what I mean? They're still making the 1960s, what they call dad rocker guitar, right? So Now, I'm 50 years old, so I would, if I had children, I would fall into the dad rocker for sure. But is the guitar any good? Yeah, the guitar is phenomenal. Uh, but is it modern sounding? No, it still has that vintage sound. Now, mind you, if you want the Angus Young tone playing straight through the amp, there's no better guitar. If you want old Black Sabbath sound, it'll give it to you. If you want, a really good bluesy sound, it'll give it to you. I don't find the SG anemic in comparison to the Les Paul. I find it different. The SG is the guitar that sits out front in comparison to the Les Paul, where the Les Paul makes an awesome rhythm guitar just because it's so full sounding. But I find the SGs always cut through more. They just, they're really meant for, like, if you're a lead guitar player and you have a choice between a Les Paul and an SG, I know it's subjective, but you're probably better off with the SG because there's nothing like your fret excess is great up to the first pickup there. Like you could, it's almost as playable as a flying V. And from a guy who's a flying V guy, trust me, that's a big statement when a guitar can play. It's like when you hear look at this new ergonomic heel joint. Well, there's kind of no heel joint on this thing. That's the whole point of it. It's all neck, which makes them so much fun to play. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that one with you. I mean, it's not like I'm just making videos of my guitars just to show off my videos of my guitars. Said no one ever. So anyway, I figured I'd just share this one with you. I haven't made a video on this guitar in a while, so I hope you guys enjoy. We'll have another nice look at it, especially right beside my new drum kit, about 3 weeks old. Starting to get full of fingerprints. My instruments always end up with a lot of fingerprints on them. But this is one of those guitars you could just sit there and just stare at it for hours and hours and hours and hours. It is a very cool guitar. All right, there you go. Have yourselves a great day, eh?